The cameras flashed, the crowd screamed his name, and for a moment, it felt like the entire city of Paris had stopped breathing. Why? Because Jimin from BTS had just stepped out of a black car, wearing nothing more than a black jacket, leather pants, and quiet confidence that could light up the entire fashion capital. People had seen stars before, but that night, it was different. When Jimin walked into the Dior 2026 Spring-Summer collection, he didn't just attend a show, he became the show. A few hours later, the numbers started coming in. Jimin's single appearance generated a media impact value of 48 billion won, or about $33.8 million. That's not just impressive, that's history. He became the most valuable K-pop artist ever with just one appearance. But here's what made it so extraordinary. None of that value came from paid ads or brand deals. It was pure, natural energy, the spontaneous wave of love from fans, media, and fashion insiders across the world. They call it the Jimin Effect, a phenomenon where one glance, one smile, one movement sends shockwaves through industries that are supposed to be immune to surprise. Fashion analytics confirmed what everyone already knew. According to launch metrics, Jimin's presence alone contributed nearly 18% of Dior's total media value during Paris Fashion Week. Think about that. One man generated more attention than the combined total of the top 10 luxury brands. Even global agency Inclusive ranked him number one among all K-pop stars who attended the 4 major fashion weeks of the year. During that period, his hashtag Jimin x Dior was mentioned over 4.5 million times, making him the beating heart of the entire event. And yet, Jimin didn't flood social media with dozens of posts. He only uploaded one single photo on Instagram. Just one. But that photo, that single moment of elegance and quiet charisma, became the most viewed and most shared image of the entire fashion week. Fans from Seoul to São Paulo couldn't stop talking about it. Media outlets wrote articles every hour, and Dior's global visibility soared overnight. No campaigns, no slogans, just Jimin. That's the power of authenticity, something that money can't buy and algorithms can't predict. But while the fashion world was still processing the chaos he caused in Paris, something else was happening across the ocean. On the Billboard charts in the United States and Japan, Jimin's song Who began to rise again. Yes, more than a year after its release, it climbed back up both the Billboard Global 200 and Global excluding US charts. His song jumped 7 spots globally and 9 spots outside the US, sitting proudly among the world's biggest tracks once again. Who has now spent an unbelievable 65 consecutive weeks on the chart. That means for over a year, listeners across continents kept Jimin's voice in their daily playlists, long after trends changed, long after most songs disappeared. And it's not just Who. His other masterpiece, Like Crazy, also spent over 65 weeks on the same global chart. Jimin became the first and only Asian solo artist in history to achieve this. 2 songs, both unstoppable, both timeless. His second album, Muse, also made history. It became the first ever K-pop solo album to reach number 1 on Billboard's World Albums chart 8 times. Even now, the album continues its reign, marking its 65th week on the chart, breaking his own previous record set by his debut album, Face. Imagine that. Jimin isn't just breaking other people's records. He's breaking his own. He's outdoing himself, again and again, as if even time can't catch up to him. Over in Japan, the story continues. Who rose again on the Billboard Japan Hot 100, climbing to number 80 and spending a total of 42 weeks on the chart. No other K-pop solo song has done that since Boe's legendary Merry Christmas. It didn't stop there. Who also climbed 8 spots on the Japan Streaming Songs chart and continued its streak on the Japan Artist 100 chart, where Jimin has now stayed for 71 weeks straight. His music isn't just surviving, it's growing, slowly, powerfully, beautifully, like a melody that refuses to fade. Back in Paris, people still talk about that night. How the city lights seemed to glow a little brighter when he arrived. How his soft smile made the chaos outside Dior's venue feel calm. How one presence could make an entire industry hold its breath. Jimin didn't need to say a word. He didn't need to make a grand entrance. He simply walked. And in that walk, he carried elegance, strength, and warmth that crossed cultures and languages. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't even about fashion. It was about something deeper. the kind of quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and being proud of it. That's the true Jimin effect. It's not measured in money or hashtags. It's measured in how deeply people feel something when they see him. From a single photo that created 48 billion won of media value, to a song that refuses to fall off the charts after more than a year, Jimin has proven that influence isn't about noise. It's about presence. When he appears, the world listens. When he sings, the world feels. And when he walks, the world follows. Because Jimin doesn't chase moments, he creates them. And that's why, whether it's Paris, Seoul, Tokyo, or anywhere in between, the name Jimin continues to echo quietly but powerfully through every corner of the world.